and he's going to house it.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another Angle of Pursuit podcast, your NASCAR home. I am your host, Kyle Robert. You follow me on Twitter at NotoriousKRO, along with my co-host, Brian Twining at Greasy Rules 14. We will be wrapping up all that was the YellaWood 500. We'll recap DFS, bets, all of our thoughts on the race, all of the craziness that went down. And then get you set for the Roval this week. It'll be the first Roval of the year, which is kind of interesting. Obviously, a lot of road course takeaways, but it's also got kind of its own animal, and we'll have to kind of figure out how we're going to play that. But before we dive into everything, Brian Twining, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to see this last race of the round of 12. I mean, there's a lot on the line for a few of these guys. Guys like William Byron, Christopher Bell, just to name a couple. I'm really interested to see if Ryan Blaney can get a win. Like, we only have 5 races left, and this dude still does not have a regular season or playoff victory. So this race is really going to be telling going into the round of 8.
Pretty wild. A couple notes before we dive into everything. If you are enjoying the content, if you are enjoying what we're doing, please smash that subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 subs before the end of the NASCAR season. Hit the thumbs up if you are enjoying, and drop your favorite bet of the week down in the comments. Also, Brian and I will be in Vegas for the playoff race. If you are going to be in Vegas, hit us up on Twitter. Let us know. I think we're going to try and go to the Bob Pockris tweet up. We'll be bouncing around a few different spots, as well as you'll find us in the sports book on Saturday and maybe a little bit on Sunday. So let us know. We'd love to say hello, buy you a beer, whatever it may be. But Brian, before we get into the race that is the Roval, let's recap the carnage that was last week. And then we'll go into our betting cards as well. So let me share my screen. Why is this not looking like it's supposed to? Must be
technology. It always breaks. I mean, coming off of Talladega, what do you expect? There's this craziness.
Present screen. I think they changed the wording, but it works just fine. Okay. So there's the atrocity that is my betting card. What happens when we go all in on Brian? Brian, what happens when we go in on Joey Logano?
That happens right there.
A lot of red happens. What happens when it's like I go in on Joey Logano, I go in on Alex Bowman, and this is the nonsense we're left with. Christopher Bell, what are we doing, bud? I know it's Talladega. I know I shouldn't be expecting consistency from guys that I think are very good drivers, and I know a lot of weird stuff happens, but my God, it was frustrating. And I thought we were going to get the Eric Jones victory. And then
I was sick to my stomach.
Freaking here,
Eric
Chase
Jones between him and Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
Chase Elliott just pops out of nowhere and goes right in front of Eric Jones and blocks him, so he can't go anywhere. And then Ryan Blaney's racing with him, and he's like, you can go ahead. I don't need a win.
Ryan Blaney is too much of a nice guy. I mean, when you just look at what happened at the Daytona 500, his own friggin' teammate, a rookie, mind you, had no problems hitting him into the wall and bumping into Bubba to get the victory. Like, Blaney needs to kind of probably take a little bit of
he needs a little more Ross Chastain, and Ross Chastain needs a little more Ryan Blaney, and then
exactly
they would be Malcolm, shut up. God, you're such a dick. No, we're not barking. No, lay down. I don't care if there's a dog outside. You need to lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Sit. 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 Sit down. Sit down. Thank you. Give me your paw. Thank you. I'm going to get back to this, and you're going to be a good boy. Sometimes you gotta. All right, where were we at?
We're
We
talking about
talked about
Blaney.
Ryan Blaney. So should
Yeah.
we just recap the card now?
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. So on my card, Joey Logano outright, not so much. Austin Cindric outright, not so much. Eric Jones outright, not so much. Christopher Bell, give me in top 10, bro. Nope, can't do that. Can't help me cash one of my best bets. Eric Jones racing in the front gets me the top 10. Thank you, Eric Jones. Austin Dillon was. Were you a little underwhelmed with his kind of finish, like for a guy that traditionally does well on this style of track, that traditionally does well at faster speeds?
Well,
He felt like a non-factor all day long.
I was just gonna say there were a few guys that actually kind of surprised me. Like Dylan being one. He never really got anywhere near the 10th or better position. He was always running in those teens, which we kind of hit on that. We alluded to that, but he always seemed to find his way inside the top 10 at these tracks. So it was interesting to see him not be able to crack that.
Yeah, I was. I'm not expecting a top 5 finish, but like give me like
No.
a 7th. Cindric got there, McDowell got there, felt pretty good about both of those guys. Of course, I didn't make those my best bets.
McDowell, a third placed
Yeah.
finish.
He does really well. And honestly, I feel like we'll be talking about him again today. LaJoy didn't get there. That was a number play. And then Joey Logano, just like non-factor all day. So didn't love that. You obviously crushed me in the Logano versus Blaney bet. So congratulations there. Eric Jones top Chevy was looking great until it didn't.
Ugh, disgusting.
Thank you, Chase Elliott. A Toyota win did not come to fruition. Logano and Blaney to both top 5. That didn't come to fruition. And Joe Gibbs to take home the checkered flag. Those were good numbers. I liked where we're at. It did not happen. All right, Brian, let's recap your card. Obviously, we did not have Chase Elliott, so Blaney, Wallace, Eric Jones, not so much. Eric Jones, top 10, crushed that. Corey LaJoy with me, Ty Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse. That was
He was
one
there
of.
early.
Yeah, that's Ricky Stenhouse, man.
Yep.
He's very frustrating. Like I feel like he should be better, and I feel like he's taken some regression.
Yeah.
And then Austin Dillon. So not great there, but your best bet of Ryan Blaney over Joey Logano for 5 units, absolutely crushed that. Suarez over Keselowski for 3 units, absolutely crushed that. Austin Dillon over Tyler Reddick, that was a nice call, despite Austin Dillon not having the greatest of days.
Yeah.
Got you there. Bell over Cindric did not come to fruition. Eric Jones, top Chevy. Busher, top Ford. Busher was right there, too. He was having a really, really nice day until he wasn't. And then your best bet, Suarez over Keselowski, added that again. So you ended up getting a full fiver on there. And your 2 best bets carried your card most of the day. My 2 best bets absolutely tanked me. So it's been a rough couple weeks for your boy. I'm still winning on a percentage basis, but my God, those units are just absolutely going nowhere. So, you're absolutely crushing me. It was fun when we were both in the green. Now, not so much.
Yeah, and I was going to say, we talked about this off the air. For those of you that don't know, we also record a football weekly picks show, Pick 6. And we jokingly said we should change the names of these to Brian's NASCAR picks and Kyle's football picks, because it's the complete opposite over on that show. So tune into that when you see that come out too.
Yep. If you enjoy football picks, I am 6-0 my last 6 picks. I'm ready for shit to hit the fan this week, but I'm happy with how the season has started for sure. As for the DraftKings, we cashed all 3 of our lineups. Well, the 2 we created on the show, and then
nice.
The one I did by myself. So Kyle Busch was a smash. We talked about, speaking of the winner, Chase Elliott, we talked about how nice of a play that would be and how he had a really good chance. And did we play him in any of our lineups? No, we did not. Nope. But you know what? That's okay. So Kyle Busch was fine. Bubba Wallace was really good. Could have been better. Eric Jones actually had a nice day, and we talked about him kind of being a little bit unique. Obviously 16%, not
Yep.
super unique, but pretty dang good for a guy that we thought could do well. And 50 points, I'm pretty happy with. Chris Buescher didn't do as well as we kind of had hoped, despite having time at the front of the field. Cole Custer got there. He was fine. Started 28th, finished 21st, whatever. Michael McDowell was one of the big winners. Started 29th, finished third, 8 fastest laps, got 70 DraftKings points. That was
Incredible.
nice. Much of the same over here. McDowell was absolutely crushed. Austin Dillon, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney was actually really, really strong, and obviously 35% of the field was on him, so that makes sense.
Hey,
Haley,
Justin Haley,
yeah,
13.6%, got 35 points. That's great.
yeah. Imagine if Corey LaJoie's salary went to someone else, and we got maybe like 30 points. We've been doing even better. And then last but not least, another strong showing here. Obviously, a lot of similarities. McDowell, Jones, Bubba. We went to Byron. He was fine. He
Yeah.
was kind of in that Kyle Busch. Like, you probably want more points out of his salary, but he also didn't absolutely tank your lineups at Talladega, which is a concern.
I was just gonna
Uh,
say though, when you really look at the roster percentage, Byron's like value in
mhm.
terms of like his play, it way better than what you got out of Bush, considering he was 26.4% owned,
Yeah.
16% larger than Byron.
Yeah, I mean, if we got his ceiling outcome, it would have been a major win for us, because
Yeah.
if he's all of a sudden he's scoring 60 points, 10% of the contest. This is the $3 three max. It would have been a nice showing for him. So, while we cash, so I'm not going to complain about that. And I feel like we're getting two good drivers at interesting ownership projections. So that was interesting. With that being said, let's roll it over to the Roval. Let's look at those odds, and see if we can't find value at the top. Chase Elliott's going to be really popular this week, and his numbers already dropping. It was pretty much 5 across the board.
Yeah.
As you can see, there we go. He is now down to 4.5. He's gonna be really popular, but I think for good reasons. Obviously, is driving amazing. Has traditionally had success on the road courses and on the Roval, so I understand why he's priced accordingly. Tyler Reddick being right there is interesting too. Obviously, 6-1, pretty much across the board. Another guy who hasn't, like, the past couple weeks been as strong as he normally as he kind of has been, but this is
He's
a
looked
guy.
incredible
Yeah,
on road courses.
he just he's just taken a huge step forward as a road course driver.
Yep.
Obviously has the wins. So price him accordingly, and I think it makes sense. Right behind him, Kyle Larson at 8-1 is really compelling. I don't know, man.
I just can't get there anymore.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done taking the bait with Larson.
Behind him, the full 2023 AJ Allmendinger will be a full season NASCAR driver, which is awesome. Glad to see he gets his seat back. He's been pretty solid this year, even in tracks where traditionally he's not as amazing. So, pretty good stuff there. But as we dive, he kind of starts the double digits. So, Brian, I guess, are you betting any of these three guys inside 10-1, or should we just dive down and find the names that we want to add to the sheet?
Among the guys 10-1, the only person I would consider would be Chase Elliott. He's won 2 of the 4 previous Charlotte Roval races.
Yeah.
And although he hasn't won a road course race since summer of 2020 or something, like, it's been a long time since he's won a road race. However, he's finished top 5, I think, in 3 of the 5 road courses this season. So, I mean, he's still just as good. Maybe it's top 10 in 3 of the 5, but he's coming off a win at Dega. The one thing I worry about is the fact that he's already secured his spot, and I think he's still atop the points for the playoffs. Like, he's not in any risk of not advancing or still maintaining a top 4 spot going into the round of 8. So I don't know like if he's going to be risk averse or what, but for me, the line is far too short for somebody who hasn't won on a road course in quite some time.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good call. I'm not opposed to betting Tyler Reddick, and I might find a way to add him to the card. We'll see how it goes. But he's just been so good on road courses this year. He's actually been pretty solid on the Roval for his two trips around, average finish of 7th. So, like a top 7, 8 average rating. So he is somebody who is a little more interesting. And whenever we've talked about this all year, but whenever we see a driver that is seemingly kind of a little bit out of place,
Yeah, true.
it's always something that throws up an alarm bell. And sometimes this year it's actually like the Daniel Suarez week, the Christopher Bell week. Like those are weeks where we find winners. Speaking of winners, let's dive into the next range because I think there is potential here. So we have Dinger the Ringer, 10-1, 12-1, obviously a full seat in 23, which is great. Has been really solid all year, and obviously does really good on road courses. The winner of Sonoma, Daniel Suarez, which I mean, maybe I'm overestimating a little bit, but it does feel like Sonoma has a little more like between because of the ups and the downs and a
Yeah,
little more than just the lefts and rights. It feels like it's a little more comparable, even though, and he's also been pretty good at kind of the super speedway type, which obviously you get with the corners. So
yeah.
kind of interesting there. And then his Trackhouse teammate 15-16 right there behind him. Your guy Ryan Blaney, same range. Austin Cindric, same range. William Byron actually dropping in some spots. There's still a 15-1 out there, and then we'll cut it off, I guess, at Chris Bell, and then kind of drop down beyond there. So I guess thoughts on this range? Anyone you're adding to the card, and where's your head at?
I mean, Daniel Suarez is really intriguing. I mean, just like Chase Elliott, he's top 5 in 3 of the 5 road course races so far this season. He finished 13th last season at this track in his first year with Trackhouse, and he's only gotten better as a driver. And the car in the next gen car seems to have caught up to the rest of the field. So I feel like just in general, he's a little bit better in equipment wise coming into this year. So Suarez at 15-1 is a decent number that I'd consider, but I don't know at this point of the playoffs. Like, I don't know if I'm going to the middle here. The outrights are just not hitting. So for me, I'd rather take a longer shot that we'll see a little bit later.
Yeah.
And just go with like 1 or 2 on the week.
That's probably a smart move, but since I like losing money, I'm gonna take a shot in this range. And I'm gonna go with William Byron, a guy that, if you look at average rating on the Roval, he actually has the best average rating. Obviously, only top 10s. He doesn't have a top 5, so that in his 3 trips. But an average finish of 7.7. It's also been pretty solid in road courses in the new vehicle. And I got this at, I think 16 was the number I grabbed. Obviously down, it was 15 pretty much across the board when we chatted on Monday or Tuesday. And now we sit here at the end of the day, Wednesday. So William Byron, I'm going to take that points bet number at 15-1 and make that my first outright.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Byron is one of the strongest drivers. I know he didn't look great last week in Talladega, but you can't base anything off of super speedway.
Yep. And I also think he is in a position where like a win would be massive for him. Like, he's kind of on the outside looking in right now. So if he wants to keep being in the hunt and keep being someone to potentially take down the crown, this is a spot where he has to perform really, really well and potentially win.
Yeah, and before we move, I still like if you're riding the train with Ryan Blaney expecting a victory to come, like there was one point this year where he was leading. I forget what road course it was, but a pit. He stayed out. His tires got bald basically, and he got spun out. during the final restart in a race that he was pretty much dominating till the end until a caution came out. So, I mean, Blaney's a guy too who, with the right pit strategy and no F ups by the pit crew, could potentially get his first win.
Yep, and he's a guy who's done stellar on road courses. One back in in Rovals, one back in 2018, top 10 in every race, 2 top 5s. Was first overall in stage 2 in the 2020 race. Was top 4 in both the stage 1 and stage 2 finishes. Has outside of one race in 2019 has been incredible. So. Is somebody that makes a lot of sense, especially at that 15, 16 to 1 number. And just like you said, Brian, like we really need him to have 3 stages
race too.
Keep your car on the track, keep your tires on your car. And he could easily be taking home the checkered flag. We'll dive into the next range where there is a few interesting names. Denny is at 12, where he's 18, 16, at a lot of other places. So if you like Denny, shop it. Chase Briscoe, 20. Christopher Buescher. Christopher Buescher is interesting. I shared a tweet with you from our guy over at iFantasy Race, but my God, has he been really, really solid on these tracks.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm going to stop you there. 25 to 1 for Chris Buescher, who he's been a sneaky good road course racer throughout his career. Even, I mean, when you look at his Xfinity racing, 3 of the 6 road courses he ran, he finished the top 10. He has a victory there. He finished 3rd at this particular race last season. He has I think it's the 4th best average finish at road courses since 2019. And he has his average finish of 13th since the beginning of 2017, or the last 22 road course races. So this is a guy who's always running near the front. We saw him sneak out a win when it wasn't expected a few races ago. He's basically one of the quietest good drivers in the Cup Series that doesn't get very much credit because he's driving for that guy, Brad Keselowski.
Yep. And as iFantasy Race points out, over his last 4 road courses this year, he has a 2nd best average finish and 2nd best total speed rating. He was also 3rd last year in the Roval. So he is somebody that makes sense, and I'm going to join you on that 25 to 1. I think it's a good number, especially with other books hanging, almost every other book hanging at 20. I think we get there. The rest.
It's interesting that they messed up and they have Logano down there.
Yeah. Action Network is all ass backwards this week. They have Alex Bowman and Cody Ware at the top. I'm not really sure why Logano's down here. Kevin Harvick got a big old slap on the wrist today. What was the official? Do you have the tweet pulled up? Let me see if I can just find it. But
I could see, just to elaborate on that too, I could see Kevin Harvick just going like full Armageddon mode and just starting to get his revenge on people that have ever wrecked him during races. So I mean, look for Chase Elliott maybe to get in the way of Kevin Harvick, and Harvick to pay him back from last year's. I think it was, I forget what race it was in the playoffs, but KV is taking names right now in the Twitterverse, and he does not give a flying F at who he's offending or for the NASCAR officials and what they have to say.
Yeah, so his crew chief, Rodney Childers, suspended 4 races. They fined him $100,000 and docked the team 100 points for modifications to the car. He was already out, so it didn't really matter. And as our guy Fantasy Race points out, in 5 of the last 6 races heading into the weekend, Kevin Harvick has finished 19th or worse. So it's after getting on board and being excited about what his potential may be. It hasn't been good for our guy.
Talk about falling off a cliff.
Yeah. As we keep diving down, we got Martin Truex, 25-28. Man, it feels like a lifetime ago when this guy was like right there with Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson for the best on road courses, and now he's 30 to 1. I mean, that was less than a year ago. It's crazy.
Yeah, the new car has definitely changed.
Yep.
Who is running good at these?
Yeah, it sucks. Hopefully he can figure some stuff out and make it happen. My last outright for the week is going to be Michael McDowell. We've talked about his strategy, his improvement as a driver overall, and just the way he's shown up at road courses all year long. He's just constantly in the top 5 conversation to me, and I'll probably bet that too. But my God, is that 30-1 number interesting? So 3 outrights for me: William Byron, 15-1; Christopher Buescher, 25-1; Michael McDowell, 30-1. I'm gonna limit myself there. Tyler Reddick was interesting. I don't think we want to get to any of these guys. I know Eric Jones is always. What about Bubba? Like, maybe obviously don't want to hit him on the outright. It's probably, but he's somebody that I remember. He was one of the guys that we crushed on a road course about a month ago. We got him at 15-1 to top 10.
Yeah.
Might be worth a shot there. Not so much here, but
I mean, I'm slightly worried about them because just Toyota in general. When was the last time you saw Bubba Wallace finish mid teens at a super speedway when he didn't crash? I mean, they didn't have the pace last weekend, and it was only Denny Hamlin to finish inside, I think, the top 15 among all Toyotas. So
yeah, Toyota's got some work to do. Let's look at top 10 odds and see if we can't find some interesting value. It's top 5. Let's go to top 10. Back to our egregious numbers this week, which makes me feel better and doesn't make me want to spray the board in the top 10 market. If you have access to Bet Rivers, this could be fun. Byron, Dinger, like a lot of these make sense. Suarez, got some interesting.
I mean, even those are not that bad though. Even at -140 or -150, because the risk of crashing is kind of mitigated at these kinds of tracks because cars are a little more spread out, and it's really only if somebody like Ross Chastain is going kamikaze into a corner that you're going to run into issues.
Yep. No, 100%. Cindric's interesting. Logano, I know is interesting. Christopher Buescher, I'm going to take the -110 over at PointsBet.
Yeah, I'm adding that one. If I feel he's got a shot to win, I mean, top 10 at that number is too good to pass.
Yep, I think that is a good number. -110. I mean, Chase Briscoe, Michael McDowell plus 100. I will also add that. I guess kind of on the same. I think he's a lot safer, and obviously with the road course, carnage is a lot less likely. Obviously, it can still happen.
I'm also going to go back to
behind you, and you could end up, or you could end up next to Noah Gragson. He could turn left on straightaway, but outside of that, it's not super likely.
Yeah, I'm actually going back up the board and grabbing Blaney at -140.
Do it
as well. He's top 10 in all 4 Charlotte Roval races. The last 2 road course races this year have been a struggle, but I think that was one of the ones where he wrecked in. So I think Blaney still kind of needing to accumulate points going further along in the playoffs. Is somebody who's going to want to finish near the front. And so I like him to top 10 pretty strongly this week.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a good call. I think Cindric's interesting to top 10. We could go that 120, 130 number, but that's okay. Logano similar, but for now I'm gonna leave them off. I'm gonna hope they don't qualify quite as well, and
maybe get a better number.
Yeah,
that's actually something. Now that I've added the Buescher bet, that's something I worry about. Is like if he has an issue qualifying, you could probably get a better number.
But I expect him to perform well. So
and you probably I'll just go back to the board with him.
Exactly. I guess we can always double up, and then Eric Jones, no thank you. Cole Custer, see Bubba Wallace plus 370.
But Wallace stinks.
Like he stinks, baby. Yeah, I mean, he was top 10 after stage 2 at Coda. He was, let's see. I don't know. You're probably right. I'll just
Since the beginning of 2019, he has a 53.1 driver rating at road courses, according to
is that
driver averages.
is that not good?
That's not good at
No, it's
all.
not what you're looking for.
Okay, just a good example for Bubba Wallace's finishes this year at road courses. So he finished 5th at the Indy road course when we cashed in on that huge
15 to 1.
number. 35th, 35th, 36th, and 38th are the other 4 finishes at road course.
It'd be nice if we could bet him to like either top 5 or be outside the top 30.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a feat in and of itself to finish that low that many times.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. I want to look at the top 3 market and see if there's any interesting numbers jumping out. Like I'm gonna add William Byron at plus 350, and I'm gonna add the Dinger at plus 350. I think both are super in play. I think I could see Dinger being right there and like Elliott passing him at the end again or something.
Well, I mean, he's not Dinger the Ringer for no reason. Like this dude
Right.
is good at road
Yeah.
courses.
Yeah. He'll be hyped to know that he's going to be in a full ride next year.
I'm actually gonna go back to Blaney. I mean, I guess I don't know why I keep doing this to myself because it's not happening. But Blaney to top 3 at plus 430 at FanDuel seems pretty good for me.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
I mean,
yeah, I wish more books had top 5 numbers. But Busher at plus 750 to top 3 is pretty fun.
I have less faith in him to do that.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I'd rather go top 5 with Busher at plus 350.
Let's see. Yeah, I think. Yeah, give yourself a couple extra spots. Just sneak into the top 5 and make it happen. I'm gonna add Michael McDowell at 4-1 to top 5. I like that number a lot. It's Michael McDowell week, but like in a good way, not like in a Joey Logano way.
Ooh. Taking a sneak peek before we jump in at the driver matchups, there's some intriguing numbers.
Let's go take a look and see if we can't find some interesting. I think this is a great place to do some head-to-heads, assuming they give us good numbers this week, because last week it was really shit.
Yeah.
All right. So we have Logano versus Suarez. Hamlin versus Suarez. Both those are interesting. Kevin Harvick versus Alex Bowman, who's not racing. I guess is Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman's not back this week, right?
Yeah, I think he's out again.
Yeah, so pretty interesting to see what NASCAR does with like Kevin Harvick missing serious time. Or not Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch. Now Alex Bowman. Like I think they're gonna have to figure out some new safety measures going into next season. Yeah,
Michael. That's pretty telling right there. Michael McDowell, that is that big of a favorite over Kyle Busch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but just wait. Are we taking the bait again? That's a big number.
I'm a sucker. Let's go.
Oh man, I can't do it.
It's probably the smart move, but these numbers have been good to us. And I think that it makes a lot of sense. Let's see. Tyler Reddick over now. See, but like if you gave me plus 140 on Tyler Reddick, I'd be more interested. Plus 105, I don't think that's quite good enough.
I don't know. He's pretty good though.
He is really good, and it's a plus number. I mean, I guess we could just bank on Chase Elliott not finishing super strong and having issues, and that is kind of just cashing a bunch of head-to-heads. But my God,
I found our show bet, by the way.
Oh,
Too.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
You'll know what it is when you see it.
Christopher Bell. Oh, Michael McDowell versus Chris Buescher?
You betcha.
Sure. I mean, I like both guys this week, and I have bets on both of them. So,
Well, you're getting plus money on McDowell too. Like,
okay, well then, yeah, I'm in. I'm in. Yeah, and I'm gonna take Austin Cindric over Chase Briscoe. Cindric's been so rock solid on road courses, and I think it makes sense. Plus, I get what plus 100. So, yeah.
yeah.
All right. All right, Brian. That was the show. Let's dive into the betting card as it stands. Let's give the people a best bet and let's get the hell out of here. So, as we sit right now, we'll dive down. We'll take a look. I have 3 outrights. I have William Byron, I have Chris Buescher, and I have Michael McDowell. 15 to 1 for a unit, 25 to 1, and 30 to 1 for half a unit. I have a Buescher top 10, a McDowell top 10. I have a Byron top 3, a Dinger top 3. I have a McDowell top 5 thanks to DraftKings. And 3 head-to-heads. Kyle Larson over Chase Elliott. The show bet, which I will take Michael McDowell over Chris Buescher. So hopefully Buescher wins, or McDowell wins, Buescher gets second, and everything will be great. And then Austin Cindric over Chase Briscoe in the head-to-head. Brian, break down your card and give the people your best bet.
Yeah, my card's pretty light as we sit here recording on Wednesday
Probably
evening.
smart.
Blaney and Buescher are my only 2 outrights. Only 2 top 10s, Buescher and Blaney. I'm going back to Blaney for a top 3 at plus 430. And the only matchup I have is our show bet, and that's going to be Buescher over McDowell.
And this, my friends, is why Brian is crushing me on the season. I was beating him at one point. That quickly went away, and now he's been just absolutely dismantling me down the stretch. So that is Brian Twining. I am Kyle Robert. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will be back on Saturday. As I mentioned, if you are enjoying what we're doing, make sure you smash the subscribe, make sure you hit the like button, and let us know your favorite bet for the Roval. And then we will be back in your feed on Sunday morning with DraftKings picks, with an updated betting card, and more plays. That's Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert, and we'll talk to you next time.